Hello everyone, myself Raki Kumari, Assistant Professor in the Department of Electronics and Communication, ABS Engineering College, Ghaziabad, affiliated to Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Technical University, Lucknow. Today in the lecture series of Optical Communication, I am going to deliver before you PIN and avalanche photodiode. As already known to you that photodiode is one of the most important component of a optical communication system. And why it is important? Because at last we have to receive the signal at the receiver section in the electrical form, but the transmission is going on in optical communication system in optical signal. So as to convert the optical signal into the electrical form, we require the photodiode at the receiver section. There are various type of photodiode which are available, but in this section we are going to study about the PIN and avalanche photodiode, which is one of the most important photodiode which are generally used in the optical communication. In this contest, we are going to study PIN photodiode, working of photodiode, factor which limit the speed of response of a photodiode, avalanche photodiode afterwards, and temperature effect on avalanche gain, which is related to the avalanche photodiode. So, continue with the PIN photodiode. So, again the photodiode is used to convert the optical signal into the electrical signal. Into electrical one. So, just for the recap purpose, if the input of the photodiode is the photon and the output of the photodiode is our electron. So, before studying PIN photodiode, we have to always keep this in mind that at input we are providing the photons and output we are receiving the electron. So, what is the, and now comes what is the PIN? PIN stand for what? P and N. P and N are the normal PN junction diodes. P and N for the normal junction diode. But when we insert I in between this P and N, then this I stands for intrinsic semiconductor material. Intrinsic semiconductor. So, in this particular section, what we are going to study, कि we have a photodiode, a diode in the form of a PN junction diode, but now we are inserting a intrinsic semiconductor material between this two PN substance, PN material. So, what is the significance of this insertion I in this? So, and this makes our PIN photodiode. Earlier we have gone through the PN junction photodiode also, and in this section we are going to have a PIN photodiode. And what is the significance of this PIN photodiode? We are also going to study about that, and this significance arises due to the insertion of one intrinsic semiconductor material between this P and this N, and this is the intrinsic semiconductor material. We already know that this P and N is our extrinsic one semiconductor material, and this is also, and this is I is our intrinsic semiconductor material. Now, in order to allow operation at longer wavelength where the light penetrates more deeply in the semiconductor material, a wider depletion region is necessary. So, here comes the answer. What is the requirement of I? Insertion of I in between the PN junction for the wider depletion region. As we know I is inserted for the wider depletion region. The answer comes, and this allows the working of a photodiode for a longer wavelength. Because during the process, what is going to be happen, that our photon strike here in the junction region and electrons are emitted. So when the electrons are emitted for the wider longer wavelength, this photon has to if the wavelength of the photon is longer, is the larger one, then this will penetrate to more distance, and if the junction width is smaller, then it cannot penetrate deeply inside the junction. So that this wavelength of a photon can penetrate deep inside, if we use the photon of a higher value of wavelength, we require a wider depletion region, and this can be done with the help of insertion of I, that is intrinsic semiconductor material. So now we have got the answer that PN junction diode works at the lower value of the wavelength, and if we want to use it for the higher value of wavelength, we have to insert a intrinsic semiconductor material I in between, so that it can work for the longer wavelength. And why it is done? Because the light of photons insert deep inside the depletion region, and if it has a higher value, then of course then it will penetrate deep inside the intrinsic semiconductor material, that is our junction region, and for this is created. To achieve this, the n-type material is doped so lightly that it can be considered intrinsic. So how this intrinsic semiconductor material is manufactured? By doping n-type material so lightly that it can be considered intrinsic, and in this way we can manufacture our PAIN structure. And here is the our E field, and this is our distance. So we can see that at this intrinsic semiconductor region, E field is created, have a larger value as compared to our extrinsic region. So we can definitely say about this. Now working of a photodiode. Sufficient reverse bias applied so as to keep intrinsic region free from carriers, so its resistance is high. So how can this be done? We supply a reverse bias, a sufficient reverse bias is applied, so that the intrinsic region free from carriers, so that the intrinsic region become free from carriers and its resistance become high. So when the incident photons falls upon it, this is our incident photon having the value h nu is falling upon it. What it excites an electron from valence band to the conduction band, thus a free electron hole pair is generated. These are called photocarriers. These carriers are collected across the reverse bias junction, resulting in the rise of current in the external circuit, that is called as the photocurrent. So a sufficient reverse bias is applied first of all, so that the intrinsic region get free of the carriers, and when a photon falls on it and free electrons get generated, free electron hole pair get generated in the external circuit, and a current started to flow, and this current is called as the photocurrent. So what we are getting? At the input we are providing the photon, and at the external circuit now we are receiving the photocurrent in the form of electrons. In the absence of, so what is going to happen when there is a no light? Because Input here is our light, and if there does not exist any light, pin photodiode behaves electrically just as an ordinary rectifier diode. In the normal condition, when no photons are falling on it, the pin photodiode works as a normal rectifier diode, and it will conduct large amount of current in the forward bias. The condition applied when no light falls on the pin photodiode. Pin detector operate in two modes, that is photovoltaic and the photoconductive. So, what is non photovoltaic and what is photoconductive? In photovoltaic mode, no bias is applied to the detector. In the photovoltaic mode, no bias is applied to the detector. In this case, the detector works very slow and the output is approximately logarithmic to the input light level. So, in that case, when the no bias is applied, what is going to happen, that the output is logarithmic to the input light level. So, the relationship between the output current and the input photon is logarithmic. But in photoconductive mode, detector is reverse bias. So, if anyone asks you about the difference between the two modes of the pin detector, that is photovoltaic and the photoconductive, you can also interpret this from these 2 points, that photovoltaic no biasing, in photoconductive reverse biasing, and the relationship between the output current and the input photon is logarithmic, but in the case of photoconductive, the output in this case is linear with the input light level. So, the relationship between output and the input is the linear here. So, we have got the two most important difference between the photovoltaic and the photoconductive operative modes of the pin diode. So, here we can say that there is a depletion region, valence band, conduction band, and when a photons falls in it, photo generated holes here, photo generated electrons here, which are formed when the photons fall, and we are getting the electron hole pair for the generation of photo current, and it has to move from valence band to the conduction band. Now comes the factors which limit the speed of response of a photodiode. So, what are the, when we talk about the different types of, a normal thing comes in our mind, the depletion region plays a very important role in the working of operation of the photodiode. Similarly, here we can see the factors which limit, we are able to see the photons relation to it, depletion region, generation of photocurrent. So, all plays an important role in the speed of the response of photodiode. The first one, drift time of carrier through the depletion region. So, first factor is the drift time of carrier through the depletion region. The speed of response of photodiode is fundamentally limited by the time it takes photo generated carriers to drift across the depletion region. So, first the factor which limit the speed of the response is the time taken by the photo generated carrier to drift across the depletion region which is created in between the pin diode. When the field in the depletion region exceed a saturation value, it has to exceed a particular saturation value, the carrier is assumed to travel with a drift velocity which is given by the Vd here. The longest time transit time T drift in that case is given by W upon Vd, where W is the width of the depletion region and Vd is of course the travelling time drift velocity Vd after the electric field exceed the saturation level. At the field strength, there is a one value is given for you. At the field strength of 2 × 10⁴ volt per centimeter, the silicon give maximum carrier velocity that is our drift velocity of 10 to the power of 7 centimeter per second. Thus, the transit time through which depletion width of 10 micrometer can be crossed is 0.1 nanosecond. This is just one example for the silicon one. The second factor which limit the speed of the response of the photodiode is diffusion time of carriers generated outside the depletion region. So, after the photons falls on the depletion region, a photo generated carriers are created at the external circuit of the photodiode. So, diffusion time of that carrier outside the depletion region also plays a very important role in deciding the speed of response of the photodiode. So, carrier diffusion is comparatively slow process. This is also a very slow process where the time taken T drift, it is given by T drift for the carrier to diffuse a distance of d, and it is given by T diff is equal to d square upon 2 d under 2 dc, where dc is our minority carrier diffusion coefficient and this is a fixed quantity. For example, the whole diffusion time through a 10 micrometer of silicon is 40 nanosecond. So, this distance if taken as a t 10 micrometer, then the time taken is 40 nanosecond, whereas the electron diffusion time over a similar distance is 8 nanosecond. So, whole diffusion time and electron diffusion time varies in the case of a photodiode. The time constant incurred by the capacitance of the photodiode with its load. This also plays a very important role in deciding the speed of a photodiode. The reverse bias photodiode exceeded voltage dependent capacitance caused by the variation in the stored charge at the junction, and the junction capacitance is given by, this is the relative permittivity basically, not relative one, but permittivity, which is given by absolute permittivity into our relative permittivity. So, that gives the complete permittivity of a semiconductor material. A is the area of the junction and W is the width of the junction. Hence, a small depletion width W increases the junction capacitance. So this junction capacitance can increase over the small increase of the width, and here the width we have increased. So, of course, junction capacitance react accordingly. The capacitance of the photodiode CD is that of a junction together with the capacitance of the lead and cap packaging. This capacitance must be minimized in order to reduce the RC time constant, which also this is the fourth one, this is the fourth factor. The capacitance of the photodiode CD together with the capacitance of lead and the packaging also plays a very important role in deciding the time constant RC of a photodiode. Now, let us do one numerical related to that. So, a silicon pin photodiode has an intrinsic region with a width of 20 micrometer. W is given, it is 20 micrometer, and a diameter is 500 micrometer, in which the drift velocity of electron, properly see that drift velocity of the electron is 10 to the power of 5 of electron. When the permittivity of the material, but complete permittivity is given, not the relative one here. So, epsilon s farad per centimeter. You have to calculate the drift time of the carrier across the depletion region first, and second the junction capacitance of the photodiode. So, let us solve it. So, drift velocity, drift time is given by, already formula we have obtained, is given by the W, that is width upon the drift velocity of the electron. So already seen, width is 20 micrometer and velocity is 10 to the power of 5 meter per second. So we have written and we have obtained, and when we solve it, we get the drift time of the carrier across the depletion region. And now the junction capacitance, it is given by this formula. A can be calculated, pi r square, r is given to you, D is given to you, have the value of r from there, and we will able to solve it, and then on putting we will get the value of the capacitance. W is same as the 20 microsecond, epsilon is given in the numerical itself. So in that case we have calculated the junction capacitance at 4 picofarad. So now comes the avalanche photodiode. So avalanche photodiode plays also have some significance over the PIN photodiode, that is why it is created, and it is more sophisticated structure as compared to PIN photodiode, because in this this electric field region, high electric field region is created as compared to the PIN one. So the second major type of optical communication detector is avalanche photodiode, which is also called as a APD. It is more sophisticated structure than PIN diode in order to create a high electric field region. That is why this is also called as the high gain region of the avalanche photodiode. By virtue of doping concentration in the physical concentration of the N plus P junction, the electric field is high enough to cause impact ionization. So the main process which is involved here is the impact ionization, and due to this impact ionization only we can see that what is going to happen. The photocurrent which is generated in this case, the current which is generated in the APD is much more than that of the PIN. Photocurrent generated in APD is higher than that of the PIN, because impact ionization takes place, and in the process multiplication process also takes place. Let us see that here. Under the normal bias, operating bias, the I layer is completely depleted. This is known as the reach through condition, and hence it is known as the reach through APD. Light absorption of course is most efficient in the I layer. In this region, E field separate, that we have already seen in this figure. The E field gets separated here most precisely. Here it is very high, and now in the I region it is falling down. So we are able to distinguish the E field, separates the E field very clearly in the case of a APD. If the APD is biased close to breakdown, it will result in a reverse leakage current. Thus the APD are usually biased just below the breakdown. So we have to take care of this, that we have to bias the APD just below the breakdown, so that we can, because in APD close to breakdown it will result in reverse leakage current. Now the multiplication, already told to you that multiplication takes place in the case of a avalanche, that is 1 is initiating to 2, and then again, and the multiplication process basically takes place, avalanche multiplication which we called as. So in APD we are able to achieve the, due to this avalanche multiplication we are able to achieve the more photo current. So here comes the multiplication factor, that is first Im upon Ip, whereas the Im is the average value of total multiplied output current, on Ip is the primarily unmultiplied photo current. So let us do one numerical for this. Here it is given a quantum efficiency of a particular silicon RAP, that is reach through avalanche photodiode, is 80%, that is efficiency is given as 0.8. For the detection of a radiation at a wavelength of 0.9, that is wavelength is given as 0.9, when the incident optical power is 0.5, P naught is equal to 0.5 microwatt. The output current from the device after avalanche gain, that is after the multiplication operation of the avalanche, that is IM is equal to 11 microampere. Determine the multiplication factor. You have to calculate the multiplication factor, and as per the formula we have seen that M is equal to IM upon IP. So, for calculating M, first of all we have to calculate IP with the help of first this through. So, again we are going to have the formula of the responsivity, about that which we have earlier in the previous lectures of the optical communication. So, as we know that responsivity is related to the efficiency by this equation, where this is efficiency, this is electron value, wavelength, H is the constant, C is the constant. By putting efficiency 0.8, E 1.6, wavelength is given 0.9 to the power minus 6, H is the constant value which is given as 6.626 into 10 to the power minus 34, C is close to the 3 to 10 to the power of 8. So, we are getting the responsivity as this. Also, we know that responsivity is given by IP into P naught, where P naught is the incident power and IP is our generated photo current. So, with this equation we are getting the formula of IP here, because we want to calculate IP. IP is equal to P naught into R, P naught value given in the question and R value we have just calculated. So, now we have the IP value 0.29 microampere, and by putting the formula this value in the formula of multiplication factor, M is equal to IM upon IP. IM value given in the question, IM is equal to what? 11 microampere. So, by putting the value we are getting the multiplication factor as 38, because the answer comes 37.8, but factor is always in the whole number. So, we have converted it into 38. Now, comes the temperature effect on avalanche gain. The temperature plays a very important role in the gain of the avalanche. So, here we can see that in avalanche what is going on? Here the multiplication is going on within the depletion region. And due to this we can able to see that here it is the reverse breakdown region VR, and here our multiplication factor. So, we can able to earn minus 20 degree, plus 20 degree and 60 degree. So, with taking the all parameters constant, we are able to see that the graph for different temperature is different. So, what is the reason behind this? That we are getting the different types of graph when we are changing the temperature, we are not changing any other parameter. So, reason behind is this, that the multiplication factor, the multiplication is the most important for the avalanche gain, that due to multiplication only the gain is increased in the case of avalanche photodiode. So, this is given by IM upon IP, we know multiplication factor, and this IP is related to the reverse breakdown voltage and the reverse bias voltage. VR is our reverse bias voltage and VBR is our breakdown voltage, and we know that they are related to temperature and varies with the temperature. we can easily say that multiplication factor depends upon the temperature, and if the multiplication factor depends upon the temperature and the multiplication factor is the factor which determines the gain in the case of a avalanche photodiode, so we can easily say that temperature plays a very important role in the avalanche gain of the APD, that is avalanche photodiode. So, thank you for attending today's class.